Hey everyone, welcome back to the Artie Dan's channel. This is Watching the Intros to Chinese Horror Movies Part 4. If you're new to this series, what I do is we watch the first couple of minutes of these Chinese horror movies, look at how ridiculous they are, and then have a little bit of a chat about them. Now, the reason I picked Chinese horror movies out of all the Asian ones is because they're the most wacky, and because usually it's the intros that are the only good parts about the film, and then the film kind of degenerates as it gets on. So we've already looked at all the movies from a company called Film Moon. Now we're going to just start taking a look at anything that we've got. Now, also, in order to keep synchronicity between YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble, I've actually pre-screened all the clips to make sure that they are okay to use on YouTube, which means that there'll be no cut episodes on YouTube. All three episodes will be the same across all three platforms. It does also mean that you Rumble guys will get a special episode later on with the clips that are not allowed to be used on YouTube. Now, the 4 clips that we're going to look at today are Lift to Hell, Panic Ghost Apartment, Tai Xian, and Death is Here 3. Now, 2 of them are very short, and the other 2 are moderately long. So it should be a pretty balanced episode. The first one that we're going to check out is the I think it's a very early 2010s horror film called Lift to Hell. Let's go.
记住啊，千万不要最后一个上电梯。
为什么？我倒想试试。
千万别试，你不知道啊，我们科都传遍了，因为电梯里已经有一个人了，只是你看不见。马姐，
今天你辛苦了，20床病人要特别注意一下，每隔1个小时换一次点滴。
好啊。
放哪儿了呢？
马姐，你找什么？
没什么。可能放在包里了。我放在包里了。我应该放在包里了。
我的嫦娥呢？
like that intro. I really do. I think that had very good atmosphere in it. And, it starts off with Chrissy Chow. Now, did you recognize Chrissy Chow, famous Hong Kong actress of the time, in this movie? Starting her off on the beach, telling her boyfriend, don't get in the elevator inside the hospital. And then, of course, the old lady gets in the elevator, suffers a panic attack, and then dies. Now, of course, because we know it's a Chinese horror movie, there's not going to be ghosts. We know that that's going to be passed off. Her death is going to be passed off as a panic attack. And then it ends very nicely with the elevator door keeps smacking into her head. Visually, I actually really liked the intro to that one, especially when the old lady's in the elevator, leaning up against the corner, and you get those two really strong reflections on both sides of the elevator. Really clever bit of visual effects work. I did like that. Really, there's not much else to say about Lift to Hell. It's actually not a bad Chinese horror film in the grand scheme of Chinese horror movies. I remember this movie got one of my videos restricted once on YouTube because it actually has a Chrissy Chow shower scene where you see the outline of her nipples over her dress, which is really, 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 really unusual for a Chinese movie to show any kind of hint of nudity. So, 2012, they were clearly trying a bit, and I think they thought that by 2020, they might be able to do a little bit more. Little did they know, a lot of restrictions would come in place a few years later that really nuded a lot of the Chinese horror films that were to come. Lift to Hell, if you can find it, I would recommend it. The movie, I think it's about 90 odd minutes long. It is that typical Chinese horror film. So while it makes a lot of allusions to ghosts and things that happen, in the end, that's not it. And you have to love the fact that there is an elevator that goes beyond level 0. In fact, it goes all the way down to -10 before it kills her. Poor woman. She knew it was coming too, which is the really funny thing. She knew it was coming. She knew she had a panic attack about being in the elevator. Why not just take the stairs? You don't look unfit. You would have survived the walk down the stairs. Think about that in your next life, lady. Then you won't be killed by the lift to hell. All right, because we had a long one, and I got 2 short clips and another long clip. Well, let's go check out one of the shorter clips. So what we might have a look at is the film Tai Xian, which means table god or table fairy. So that'll give you a bit of a hint about what the intro to this movie might feature. So let's check it out. Tai Xian. Not very spooky, was it? No, and you have to love the use of the Comic Sans font in the name Tai Xian at the end. Just, you know you're going to get a quality film when someone busts out Comic Sans. So Tai Xian, along with your B Xian and D Xian, the table god, the plate god, the pen god or pen fairy, this is what this is. So it's based on, sitting around a table, 4 people sitting around a table, holding hands, making a kind of chant or saying to the god to ask for something. What you'll notice in this film, the cast that's in this film actually stars in a lot of other movies together. It's a very, it's like they're all friends of the producer and director, and they just all get cast in the same films. Lead actress in this is really pretty, and that's why I just remember her from a lot of the other films. And there's a few films that we will look at in this series as well. The plot of this one is a very typical Chinese horror film. The 4 people that you saw there's actually a 5th person with them. They go to this house in the middle of nowhere and stay there the night. I believe... my memory's kind of fading me on this one, but I remember them driving up towards the house and then parking something like 400 meters away and then walking the rest of the distance rather than, just driving all the way to the front of the house. That always annoys me about movies as well, when no one just drives directly to the front of the house. Anyway, in this movie, they're all friends from school, and they have a friend who is dead. And they use the table to kind of call the friend. I think they're looking for forgiveness. One of the people that's there is the dead girl's boyfriend. And he kind of wants to get revenge on everyone. So what they do is when they have this table ceremony, there's a candle burning in the background, a bit of incense that he uses to feed hallucinations to them. To think that the ghost of their dead friend is chasing after them looking for revenge. It's a very, very Chinese horror movie with the hallucinations and the kind of drugs that provide these hallucinations. And of course, people dressing up. It almost goes for the complete trifecta of the kind of endings that we have. In regards to movies, it's not a very good one. And it's not a very scary one either. Chinese horror movies don't tend to be scary, and this one's definitely nowhere near that scary category. But that is Tai Xian, Table God, complete with its Comic Sans font. We're 2 down. What do you think of the 2 that we've seen so far? Certainly out of the 2, Lift to Hell is probably the one that you want to see. Now, we're going to go to the next long clip, and it is quite long. I'm looking at the timeline here. It looks to be about 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes. This one's called Panic Ghost Apartment. Let's check it out.
哎呀！
哎，你干嘛？
不好意思，有点紧张，我去开灯。
就是这儿啊。
阿姐，这真有你说的那么邪吗？
我跟你们说啊，半个月前，
王大勇，你他妈是不是躲哪儿偷懒去了？不想干，下个月给我滚蛋！
队长，我没偷懒，我正上厕所呢。
有业主投诉101我房扰民，你赶快过去看一下。
好，知道了，这就去。
之后传言说，这里每到半夜都会传出女孩的哭声。开发商还找了道士来这里做法。
我害怕，要不咱们回去吧？
不行，我们钱都交了。
哎，没事没事，有我呢。来，吃东西吃东西。
我去拿杯子，我也去。
来，阿姐，我们喝酒。来嘛。
来。
安妮，怎么了？
好舒服的床啊！
你想吓死我呀你啊！
这丫头啊，我叫你装死。你躺下，你躺下试一下。哇，真的好舒服啊！耶！啊，非常好看。
哎，喝酒，干杯！
So honestly, there's quite a lot there. And the reason I left the title intro sequence in the video as well is because I thought it was quite clever. That a lot of the file footage that's used in the background of those photographs actually have nothing to do with what happens in the film itself, but a bit of a, well, they're just interesting. Put it that way. The kind of photos that they've used there, and I'm sure they possibly got into a tiny bit of trouble using some of those images. And don't forget, you know, horror movies have always been used as a way to highlight things that the government have done badly, and Chinese filmmakers are no different. Now that intro gave off a bit of a comedy horror vibe, and I think we know why. As soon as the guy walked into the door, he farted. And that was quite funny. It's very unexpected, that is. And of course, there's a couple of comedy elements too. When the girl says, "Oh, this bed is so comfortable." We also get a lot of very leery shots there. You know, the girls are dressed in sexy dresses, and one's in as what my partner would call pussy shorts. When they're on the bed, the camera pans around their legs. There's also that hidden camera that's staring right at the bed. And this movie does feature illusions of sex. Doesn't actually have any sex, of course. And so the movie is about... Now, I have seen this movie, and I don't remember it being that great. But the whole point of this movie is about that these four friends have rented this apartment for the night. Kind of think of like an Airbnb. They rented it for the night with the intention of coming across this ghost that they've spoken about in the film. the one that committed suicide and have said that every night there's been these appearances of this ghost that appears. Now, I'm trying to scratch my memory, and I think it's to do with the developer of the building wanting to do something creepy. So actually, thus those title sequences might actually make some sense. The controversial developer trying to do something. Actually, now come to think of it, possibly that's what the movie is about. Thing is, I don't recommend you go watch it. I don't recall this being a great film, but I do recall there being quite a lot of funny moments in it. And of course, the girls are extremely good looking. There's no more farting in it either. What I did like is that the intro does at least try and go for some kind of horror elements to it. You've got not dark, you've got the blue tinge to the video to give off that kind of creepy vibe. Low staring up camera angles. Certainly the way things move and the way that the actors move around the set, kind of a little bit tense, a little bit frightened. The way that the fat security guard kind of shuffles back up the stairs. There's all those elements of horror in this movie, or in this introduction. It just doesn't translate across to the rest of the film. But again, that's why we just look at the intros, because the intros are the best. That is Panic Ghost Apartment. So this is awkward, and something that I thought I would avoid by pre-screening the clips, but apparently that's not what's happened in this case. So the planned Death is Here 3 will not make it to this video. It'll make it to a later video that'll be exclusive to Rumble. So I've replaced it instead with another clip that's just a short called Mirror World. And this is from 2022, quite a new film. So, or 2023 actually. So let's check out the intro to Mirror World. It's also on the thumbnail.
在外面等你们啊！我也好了，等等我。珊珊，你快一点啊！好，我洗完头就出去。Seems kind of cool, right? I can guarantee you the rest of the film is rubbish. Now, there's a lot for just that 1.5 minute clip that I want to talk to you about. Firstly, there's so much I can't even think of what I want to say first. Firstly, this movie is actually distributed by the modern version of Film Moon. So all those intros from the last episode. Technically, this should have fit in that one because, this movie is a part of that distribution chain. Then, the main chick. Did you recognize her from the clip that we just watched 2 clips ago? Yes. This is what I was talking about where I say that some of these actresses and actors work together. This is another one of those movies where a lot of these actors work together. And so the main chick in that one, it was from the movie back then, Taisien. Another thing, the director of this film directed Under the Bed 2 and 3. Yeah, Under the Bed 2 and 3. So, same director of that one. And let's talk about one of the scenes in that intro that we saw. The slippery tiles and the rubber shoes. Full credit to whoever the actor or actress was in that scene who managed to pretend that their rubber shoes were stuck in spot and they couldn't move. Because that would not have been easy with those slippery tiles and the fact that those shoes have no grip. Now, what is this movie about? It looked kind of cool, didn't it? And how cool did the clip start? With the illusion of nudity. Typical of these horror films, they always give you the illusion of nudity, but there never is any. This movie is about a mirror world, clearly. And the 3 girls that you see at the end of the clip, in fact, the 3 girls in the shower, and that you see again at the end of the clip, they're all friends at this university, and they have like a influencer or an online show that they do, and they want to try and do something a little scary to sell their merchandise. So they head to this house that one of them belongs to one of their family, where they do this thing called candle ceremony, where they try and call a spirit via this candle and a mirror. And then this spirit kind of comes to life. This ghost comes to life, possesses the main girl that you saw in the one that was really washing her hair, and puts her in a coma. Then the movie goes all sci-fi, literally goes all sci-fi. And it's about invading people's minds through this massive machine that's being developed in this university, where they try and get into the girl's head because she's in a coma to wake her up. And there's a lot of family trauma and shit like that. Like, towards, I'd say after the first 20 minutes, there's no horror in the movie at all. It turns very sci-fi, very kind of family drama, and a bit stupid, to be honest. If I'm being honest, a bit stupid. That's Mirror World. So probably originally, I thought the Death is Here 3 intro that was going to run in its place was the better one of the 4 of the episode. I'd probably now say that the Mirror World intro is the better one of the 4 in this episode. And nice and short, ends with a nice little and then boom, the movie starts. And of course you get a couple of cute chicks as well. So my apologies for not being able to run with the original Death is Here 3 and having to cut in this one. These copyright things just kind of come out of nowhere, and what I thought was cleared with Death is Here 3 clearly wasn't, and that was a bit of a surprise when that popped through. So I thought I'd better fix this up. I've been the Artie Dance. Thank you for watching episode 4 of Chinese Horror Movie Intros, or watching Chinese Horror Movie Intros. Episode 5 hopefully will be next week, and we'll have more wacky stuff to look at. Please press like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you are new here. Otherwise, I will catch you the next time we do a video. See you then.